In a world by powers, markets, and narratives, one question remains constant: to truly control justice. Welcome to Law and Econ 0.2. This is a space where law is not something we merely memorize for examination, but something we interrogate and question. Where economics is not confined to graph and formulas, but understand through its real impact on states and societies and human lives, and where global events are examined not emotionally but critically, intellectually, and responsibly. A question lies at the heart of today's discussion: can international law restrain hegemony, or does power ultimately silence principle? This is the question for our case law. In 1986, the International Court of Justice delivered a judgment that answered this question with clear doctrinal clarity. Nicaragua versus United States. You may know the uh, name of the case. It's not just another international case. It represents a constitutional moment in modern international law. Uh, this case, Nicaragua versus United States. The dispute arose during the ideological turbulence of Cold War, a period when the world was divided into rival blocs and geopolitical strategy often overpowered legal restraint. At its core, this case tested the limits of lawful intervention, the scope of customary international law, and the binding force of the United Nations Charter. Even often the most powerful states, following by 1979, Sandinista revolution. It was the revolution in the Nicaragua. Nicaragua adopted a left-leaning political orientation. In the Cold War logic of containment, the United States viewed this shift as a strategic threat in Central America. Instead of direct military confrontation, the US chose a proxy approach, training, financing, arming, and organizing the Contra rebels who carried out violent operations against the Nicaraguan state. Beyond this, United States mined Nicaragua's territorial waters, disrupting international shipping, trade, and economic life. You guys can understand pretty well. And in 1984, Nicaragua brought the matter before in the International Court of Justice, alleging systematic violation of sovereignty, unlawful intervention, and breach of the prohibition on the use of force under international law. Significantly, the United States withdrew from the merits phase of the proceeding, challenging the court's jurisdiction, raising profound questions about absent compliance and the authority of international adjudication. Nicaragua's legal arguments were both meticulous and ambitious. It contended that the United States had violated Article 2, Sub-Article 4 of the UN Charter. Through both direct and indirect use of force, it argued that support to the Contras amounted to illegal intervention in its internal affairs, that mining of its harbors breached international humanitarian law and freedom of navigation, and that even if treaty obligations were disputed, the United States remained bound by customary international law. At the heart of Nicaragua's claim was a powerful doctrinal assertion: the prohibition on the use of force is not merely treaty law, it is a fundamental norm of the international legal order. The United States, in response, advanced a multi-layered defense. It invoked collective self-defense, claiming that Nicaragua supported armed insurgents in El Salvador. It denied the jurisdiction of the ICJ based on reservation to its optional clause. Our declaration it argued that the dispute was fundamentally political rather than legal, and it maintained that customer international law could not be separated from treaty obligation. However, this argument were weakened by evidentiary gaps and doctrinal inconsistencies, particularly regarding the strict legal requirement governing self-defense. In its 1986 judgment, the International Court of Justice delivered finding of exceptional legal importance. The court held that no lawful self-defense existed, as there was no armed attack attributable to Nicaragua and no formal request for collective self-defense. It concluded that the training, financing, and arming the rebel forces constituted unlawful intervention, and that the mining of Nicaragua's harbors amounted to an illegal use of force. Most importantly, the court affirmed that customary international law operates independently of treaty law, ensuring that states cannot escape fundamental obligations simply by withdrawing from treaties. The United States was ordered to cease its unlawful conduct and make reparation. The significance of Nicaragua versus United States cannot be overstated. The judgment crystallized a core principle of international law, the autonomy of customary international law, and the strict limits on collective self-defense, and the legal accountability of great powers, and the role of judicial institution in preserving normative or against political realism. Yeah, finally, this case stands as a lasting reminder that international law is not a courtesy extended by power, it is a constraint imposed upon it. And these are the judgment given by the judges. Uh, these I also submitted here the summary of 16 out of 8 rulings here, and these are the summary of ninth to 16th rulings here, and these are the name of judges from India, France, Italy, Nigeria, Poland, Senegal, People's Republic of China, Japan, Argentina, United States, Brazil, United Kingdom, Nicaragua, and legal clarification and importance here, and you guys can read easily. And if you need any slides, I will provide this on from any um, like any through you can I will provide you guys.